These Arc Raiders tips and tricks will quite literally save your life. Arc Raiders might be easy to get into for newcomers to the genre, but it's still packed with hidden details that are easy to miss. From beginner advice to veteran tactics, I've gathered all the useful insights that will make your start in Arc Raiders as smooth as possible. The server slam is just around the corner, and for many of you it'll be your first extraction shooter, or at least your first chance to set foot in the world of Arc Raiders. That's why this video is structured like a typical raid. It starts in Speranza, your hub between expeditions, where you'll prepare for your next trip to the surface. After that, we'll cover all the tips to help you run your raid smoothly and successfully. Everything from movement and arcs to looting, PvP against other raiders, and pulling off a clean extraction. Finally, I'll share what to do once you're back, before you start the whole cycle again. Feel free to use the timestamps in the video description to jump to a specific topic. But now, let's jump into the tips and tricks around your base, Speranza, before you head out on an expedition. First of all, you need to put together your equipment. Arc Raiders is very generous here and gives you the option to take a free, random loadout with you at any time. Of course, these aren't the best items, and you can't bring any extra gear, and you don't get vault slots to keep items safe in case you die. But it's still a solid starter setup, and you won't have to go into the raid empty-handed. It's the perfect solution if you're low on money or don't want to take any risks. However, if you decide to build your own loadout, there are a few things to keep in mind. On the far left of the screen, you'll see your storage in Speranza. In the top middle is the augment slot, where you can equip a backpack to expand your in-raid inventory. Below that are 2 weapon slots. Under the weapons is the shield slot. To the right of that is your backpack inventory, where all your regular items go, mostly loot you collect during raids. On the far right is your quick access inventory. All items there can be accessed via the radial menu during a raid or cycled through using the Q key. Below that is your safe pocket, which acts as your vault stash. Any items placed there will be successfully extracted even if you die. You should always keep all these slots filled, ideally with your most important or valuable items. Always bring healing items for both health and shields, and if possible carry 2 weapons, one for close combat like a shotgun or SMG, and another for medium to long range engagements. Make sure your weapons don't use the same type of ammo. SMGs, for example, use light ammo and are great against raiders, but very weak against armored arcs. To break through armor, you need a weapon that uses medium or, even better, heavy ammo, like the anvil. Being able to switch to your secondary weapon in a fight instead of reloading can give you a clear advantage. Weapons can also break, so always check their durability and repair them if needed before heading to the surface. Don't forget about grenades. Smoke grenades are perfect for flanking enemies, looting safely, reviving teammates, or extracting without being seen. Ziplines are great for fast repositioning around the map, save you a lot of time, and can be real clutch moments in a fight. Think carefully about which backpack you bring. Larger backpacks offer more space but fewer safe slots. Once you're in a raid, you can't swap your backpack, even if you find a bigger one. That only can be done back in Speranza. To equip backpacks or augments, simply drag them from your storage to the appropriate slot. The type of shield you choose also affects your gameplay. Larger shields reduce incoming damage more effectively, but they're heavier and make you slower. The important thing to remember, shields only mitigate damage, they don't block it entirely. More on that later in the video. Choose your shield based on your playstyle. Want to move quietly, stealthily and fast while avoiding PvP? Then take a light shield. Planning to go up against big arcs or other players? Bring a heavy one. So that's the first tips done, and there are over 50 more to come. Videos like this take a lot of time and effort and usually cost me several days of work. If you'd like to support what I do, you can easily help by leaving a thumbs up or, even better, a quick comment. Maybe you've got a group of friends who would appreciate some Arc Raiders tips too? Feel free to share this video with them. By subscribing to the channel, you also stay up to date on everything related to Arc Raiders. So, your loadout is finally ready, but why go to the surface in the first place? you should always have a clear goal in mind. The vendors in Speranza also serve as quest givers, so make sure to pick up all available quests and focus on the ones you want to complete in your next raid. Once again, Arc Raiders is quite generous. Quests that require you to, for example, destroy a specific Arc unit with a certain weapon can also be completed by your teammates. This allows you to coordinate effectively as a group and maximize your shared progress. Required quest items are marked in the raid with a diamond icon, ensuring you don't miss or accidentally dismantle important objects. You can also track crafting recipes or upgrades for your workbenches. These required materials will then be marked with an eye icon. Especially early in the game, it's smart to level up your workbenches as quickly as possible to craft better weapons, shields or backpacks. If you ever lose track of which items you currently need, check out the website arctracker.io. You'll find the link in the video description. The site gives you an overview of all quests, including their objectives and required items. Completed quests can be marked as done. Under needed items, you'll see a summary of everything you still have to collect and can note how many you've already found to track your progress. Under Hideout, you'll find a complete overview of all workbench upgrades. If you want to plan your quests and upgrades efficiently, it's worth checking out the site before starting your next raid. Before heading into the raid, you'll need to choose one of the maps. Hover over a map with your cursor to see what kind of loot is most commonly found there. We'll get into the icons in just a moment. Maps can also have modifiers. For example, Arc presence might be increased, or it could be harvest season, which means more fertile conditions and a higher chance of finding plants like lemons, peaches or olives that you'll need for certain quests. But more on that later. Occasionally, night raids are also available on some maps. In those, both the loot and the Arc threat level are significantly higher, so be mindful of which raid you choose to start. Finally, the big question: are you going into the raid as a team or solo? Arc Raiders will try to match solo players with other solo players, but that's not always guaranteed. If matchmaking takes too long, the game may fill the raid with teams instead. During the tech test, however, the selective matchmaking system already worked quite well. Alright, now things are getting serious. You're boarding your capsule and the journey to the surface begins. Raids have a maximum duration of 30 minutes, but sometimes you'll be sent in as part of the second wave. Always check the timer. I've spawned into raids that had already been running for 12 minutes, so don't be surprised if some areas have already been looted. The first thing you should do is take a look at the map to get an overview of where you've spawned. The map shows you where the extraction points are and how long they'll remain active. It also reveals where you can find medium in yellow and high quality in red loot zones, along with the types of items found in each area. Hover your cursor over the zones and compare the icons with the legend. The factory icon, for example, means industrial loot, while the gear icon represents mechanical loot. We'll cover that in more detail when we get into the item section. With that information, you can start planning your basic route. If you want to survive and succeed in Arc Raiders, smart movement is a key factor. Always keep an eye on your stamina. You definitely want to avoid running into an ambush and being unable to dodge because you burned all your stamina while sprinting. You can slide down slopes without using any stamina. Make use of that whenever possible. Your stamina also regenerates faster when you stand completely still. There's even a perk for this in the skill tree. More on that also later. Holster your weapon by pressing the 5 key on PC to move much faster and jump farther. You'll also consume less stamina. When you need to jump from higher ground, you can roll to avoid fall damage by pressing the crouch key, C on PC, right before landing. This only works up to a certain height though. Always shoulder swap to stay in cover while checking your surroundings. You don't want to run blindly into another raider squad or a pack of Arc robots. And ping everything you see. The ping system in this game is excellent. You can mark raider flares for your teammates or ping Arc units to identify which type of drone you're facing. The communication wheel is also great, and you can even use it to talk to enemy raiders. Often everyone would rather just loot in peace. After a short exchange, you can simply go your separate ways or even team up. You can also use proximity chat for this kind of coordination. Unexpected alliances can form that way. On PC, press the B key to use it. But it's not just other raiders that pose a threat in the Rustbelt. The Ark can be an even greater danger and wipe your entire team if you don't know how to deal with them. The Tick hides in dark corners and tries to jump at you. A quick melee attack will take it out instantly. Near buildings you'll often find turrets, especially sniper turrets, which are nasty and absolutely deadly. The fireball rolls toward you and attacks with a flamethrower. Shoot it when its front hatch opens. The robot is its bigger brother, a massive sphere that tries to crush you by rolling over you. The Wasp, a small flying drone, comes with various weapons. Shoot out 2 rotors on the same side and it'll crash into the ground. The larger drone, the Hornet, can taser you. Its rear rotors are unarmored, so aim for those weak spots. The Snitch has no weapons, but it glows red when it spots you, and once it does, you need to destroy it fast before it calls in an Ark squad for backup. If you ever draw the Rocketeer's aggro, good luck. It's the strongest of the drones, and a single well-placed rocket can wipe your entire squad. It's best to avoid it entirely, but if you must take it down, shoot off the armor around the rotors first and then target the rotors themselves. The Bastion, a Tick-like Ark, wields a brutal minigun. Its weak points are the glowing yellow knee joints and a yellow tank on the back of its head. The Bison can also be a serious threat. Its only weak point is its eye, and you'll need to be quick when engaging it. And as for the Queen, we'll cover her in detail in another video. For now, just stay far away. Now, when looting, watch out for blinking red alarms in cars and for door sensors. If you're careless, you'll give away your position. A precise melee hit can disable both. Ark raiders can be very dark, especially during night raids. Don't forget to use your flashlight, but use it wisely, since it also reveals your location to other raiders. Now let's talk about the real reason we go through all this, the almighty loot.
Nice.
And if you look closely, the game already gives you some essential information when you inspect an item. Above the item's name, you'll see what type of object it is and its rarity. Below the name is a short description explaining what the item is used for. Under that, you'll find where the item is most likely to be found. Remember those symbols on the map? This helps you perfectly identify where to go to increase your chances of finding that specific item. In the bottom left corner, you'll see how many of the item can be stacked before another backpack slot is taken. And in the bottom right corner, you can check its weight. That gives you all the most important info at a glance. My recommendation: always fill up your inventory and save pockets right away. Don't leave anything behind. You can always drop or dismantle items later if needed. That's right, dismantle. If you're running out of space, don't just drop your items. You can break them down into basic resources like rubber parts, plastic parts, metal parts, fabric, chemicals, and Ark alloy. The advantage is that these base materials stack higher, saving backpack space and letting you carry more loot overall. I also recommend leaving every raid with at least one full stack of metal parts, since you'll need them to craft essential items such as weapons, ammo, and shield recharges. You can never have too many of those. Dismantling can also yield other valuable materials, sometimes even of higher rarity. For example, you might get batteries needed to craft shield recharges or processors. Any item marked with a diamond icon is a valuable item. If you're short on cash, fill your backpack with them. Back in Speranza, you can sell them for a good amount of money. Pay special attention to gold crafting recipes, but you'll need to extract them successfully to unlock new items at your workbenches. So always make room in your safe pocket for those. But of course, you're not the only one searching for good loot in the Rustbelt. Other raiders want what you have, and sooner or later you'll inevitably get into firefights with other players. Luckily, I've got a few good PvP tips for you. Always be aware of your surroundings. Just like you, other raiders constantly make noise, from triggering alarms or security cameras to opening doors or drawing the attention of ARC units. By paying attention to these sounds, you can often avoid fights altogether or at least prevent being caught off guard. Always keep an eye on your health bar. As mentioned earlier, shields only mitigate incoming damage, they don't fully block it. For example, the blue shield reduces incoming damage by just 45%. That means shields aren't an extension of your health bar. When you take fire, both your shield and health drain at the same time. Even with a full shield but low health, you can be one-shot, so it's crucial to restore both. Since health only regenerates over time, the best order is to use one shield charge first, then a bandage, and then more shield charges as needed. If you ever run out of healing items, you can craft essential gear directly during a raid. Open the menu and select the crafting tab. There you can create basic supplies on the go, provided you have the required materials. And if all else fails, you can use the basic resource fabric to heal yourself a little. You can also loot power cells from most ARC enemies. Each one restores 2 segments of your shield. Better than nothing, right? In general, use your strongest healing items during intense fights when time is critical, and save the slower ones, which may take several uses to fully heal, for when you're out of combat. Usually though, you're not the only one taking damage, your enemies are too. There are a few things to keep in mind here. ARC Raiders has no hit markers. You won't see HUD indicators for hits. Instead, you'll get a visual feedback directly in the world. When you hit an enemy's shield, it flashes blue as the shield energy disperses. When a shield breaks, you'll see an orange explosion, which is also very audible. Direct health damage shows as a red blood mist, letting you gauge how injured your opponent is. You'll also see a small indicator on the left side of the screen whenever you deal damage. When you down a raider, their raider flare automatically fires. This makes it easy to spot where gunfights are happening and where raiders are dying on the map. But be careful, flares can also be fired manually to lure others into an ambush. Downed enemies in ARC Raiders have a lot of health, so finishing them off with your weapon isn't always easy. In most cases, it's safer to ignore them for a while until all enemy players are dead. Unlike in other team-based shooters, not all raiders die automatically when the last teammate is downed. You'll have to judge or find out for yourself whether a team has been fully wiped or not. If you get downed, ARC robots will completely ignore you. You can actually use that to your advantage. A rocketeer might suddenly become your best friend. In a downed state, you'll survive for about 2 more minutes before dying completely. If you find yourself in a fight while over-encumbered, it's smart to drop a few heavy items in a dark corner to become more mobile. Rolling into cover with a full backpack just doesn't work well. Don't worry, in ARC Raiders you can't accidentally shoot your teammates. Friendly fire from projectiles is disabled. Only area damage that you cause, like from a pyro grenade, can injure your allies. Using your pickaxe bypasses enemy shields and deals direct health damage. That's good to know in certain situations. Always listen carefully to enemy sounds. Exhausted, injured or healing players are easy to locate, especially useful when you're flanking or pushing. With defibrillators you can revive downed teammates much faster, but remember you can use them on enemies too. This can sometimes lead to temporary alliances or clever betrayals. Once a player is completely dead though, there is no coming back. The round is over for them. But of course, raids can also end successfully with a safe return to Speranza. There are several ways to extract with full bags, and I've got some tips for that as well. Always keep an eye on the extraction timer. If you want to extract quietly, it's best to leave the map a bit earlier while multiple points are still active. Once only one extraction point remains, all surviving raiders will head there, and that can get dangerous fast. Whatever you do, don't be late. Once the timer runs out, meteors begin crashing down onto the surface. Sometimes you might survive a bit longer. but I've been hit by one directly before, and that was the end of my hard-earned loot. So it's always better to leave a few minutes early than a few seconds too late. If other raiders reach the extraction before you, you can try rushing the doors at the last second and hitching a ride back to Speranza. Even if you get down, there's usually not enough time left for anyone to finish you off completely. And even when you're downed, you can still crawl to the switch to call the extraction and even complete it. Those are often some of the best moments in Arc Raiders. And if you bring a Raider hatch key, you can perform a private and super fast extraction through special hatches. But be warned, the hatch only stays open for about 15 seconds. I had to learn that the hard way. Once you've successfully made it back to Speranza, there's still plenty to do before heading back to the surface. First, you'll be rewarded with your expedition summary screen. Here you can review every event of your journey step by step, a great chance to look back and analyze key moments. After viewing your loot summary and earned XP, you'll return underground. The very first thing you should do is visit Scrappy, your hardworking rooster companion. Scrappy constantly collects, well, scrap, basic crafting materials for you. Be sure to claim them after every raid. You should also upgrade Scrappy as soon as possible so he gathers even more for you. Here you can see the items required for the first upgrade and here for the second. Remember the harvest season map modifier? Keep an eye out for it to increase your chances of finding fruits and vegetables. Next, visit all the vendors to turn in completed quests and pick up new ones for your upcoming raids. This gives you extra XP and often some great rewards, so don't leave any quests unclaimed. I also recommend expanding your storage as soon as possible, otherwise you'll quickly hit your limit and run out of space for your valuable loot. Click the icon in the upper left corner above your storage to upgrade it. Here you can see the cost for the first upgrade, and here for the second. Everything you do in a raid earns you experience points, which translate into skill points when you return to Speranza. These let you level up your skill tree. The Arc Raider's skill tree is divided into 3 categories: conditioning in red, mobility in yellow, and survival in blue. Each branch offers useful ways to develop your raider and match your preferred playstyle. If you often play solo and want to stay stealthy and agile, the yellow and blue trees are perfect for you. In the survival tree, you'll find perks like Looter's Instincts, which helps you to identify loot in containers faster, or just another plant, which makes you harder for Arc enemies to detect while crouching. The mobility tree includes perks like Nimble Climber, which lets you climb and vault faster, Marathon Runner for reduced stamina use while sprinting, and Effortless Roll, which lowers stamina consumption when dodging. That said, for beginners, the Red Constitution tree offers the most universally useful upgrades. Youthful Lungs increases your maximum stamina. Proper Breathing boosts stamina regeneration speed, and Calming Stroll makes stamina regenerate just as quickly while walking as when standing still. So I'd suggest spending your first few points on stamina and maybe a bit into faster looting after that. Before heading back to the surface, check whether you can upgrade your weapons. These upgrades usually don't affect damage directly, but improve things like handling, reload speed or magazine size. Definitely worth considering if you've got the materials. After that, focus on upgrading your workbenches. They should always be a top priority as they let you craft better and stronger gear to help you in future raids. And finally, craft all the items you'll need for your next trip to the surface. And congratulations, the whole cycle starts all over again. I hope this video has prepared you for your start in the Rustbelt and that you've picked up plenty of useful tips along the way. It makes me happy if I've managed to make life in Speranza a little easier for you. If you made it this far, drop me a comment, and if you don't know what to write, just type the word Arconaut. That's all from me for now. Have an awesome day and I'll catch you topside.